What would I do now? You can only sleep and hide and cry for so long. The next morning, I willed myself from under the covers to the sound of rushing traffic. I collected the path of crumpled tissues filling my room and began to face my defeat. I was sure of a few things. I was grateful to my supporters, and, even after a humiliating loss, I was still dedicated to pursuing public service. That was my story, my truth, and I was ready to present it to the world. Or at least I was ready to face the blinking red light on my phone. I went through my BlackBerry and listened to my voicemails. The first one was left at 8 a.m. by a community activist. "I am so proud of you. The future has many, many great things ahead of you, and I know that you will have nothing but great success moving forward," she said. Her message gave me the strength to start returning calls. I began what I thought would be a painful, embarrassing process of apologizing to my supporters for letting them down. But I was shocked to find out that they weren't upset or disappointed in me. They were proud of me. A surprising number of people offered some unexpected perspective. "Your loss will make you stronger. You have a bright future, and the key now is to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and approach failure with enthusiasm. You had the courage to run for the next generation, and you were running on ideas, not incumbency, and you should be proud of that." People actually congratulated me. I was stunned, moved, and heartened. They said their support was an investment, a down payment on what I could contribute to our community and country in the next 10 years. After speaking with my supporters, reading emails, and collecting advice, I realized my career in public service wasn't over. It was just beginning. Some people have known since they were kids that they wanted to become doctors and lawyers and astronauts. As long as I can remember, I've wanted to be a public servant. Sure, it may have seemed to some observers as if I got up one morning, drank a cup of grapefruit juice, and declared on a whim, "Hey, I think I'll run for Congress today." But in truth, it was a desire that's been a part of my entire life. I've always been a political junkie and an activist. Public service is my calling, and I'm grateful for that. My first introduction to activism and the thrilling power of building a movement to effect change was when I was 13. I grew up in Schaumburg, Illinois, a medium-sized town in the Midwest, which, in the 1980s, had few minority families. My parents had come to Illinois after being expelled from Uganda by the dictator Idi Amin. It was hardly an epicenter of cultural diversity, and racism was rampant. I was no stranger to being harassed about my ethnicity. One day after school, I got beaten up with a baseball bat after some kids called me a Haji. I can't count the number of times I was asked whether my mother was born with a dot on her head. These experiences motivated me to do something to fight back. But I was still a young girl and barely 4'7", hardly an intimidating presence. I had to retaliate in a different way and use other tactics to incite change. I asked a teacher if I could start a student organization. I called it PRISM, Prejudice Reduction Interested Students Movement, and started on a mission to teach my classmates about other cultures. It attracted 50 other students, and we sponsored a cultural show at the end of the year. It made me realize that with a group of supporters, together we could create change with a lasting impact. The group, now called the Diversity Club, still exists at my high school. College only heightened my interest in activism. During my first week as a freshman at the University of Illinois, I watched a group of students galvanize in response to a slew of racial slurs that had been graffitied on campus. They gave speeches on the quad. They marched and chanted slogans. I was in awe of their ability to mobilize hundreds of people for their cause. I was particularly energized by the fearlessness of a young woman who stood in front of the crowd and gave a passionate speech. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be able to move people to action and bring people together to create change. I immersed myself in politics and spent my college years organizing students against the Republicans' contract with America, then Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich's platform of extreme conservative politics. I worked to demand diversity centers on campus. I helped organize a group of Asian Americans.